You know, I'm clearly an adult now, so honestly, today really is more just like any other day of the week, really. But even after all these years, this day, particularly, has always been kind of bittersweet for me because I am from upstate New York, and for those of you who are also from upstate New York, for the most part, you already know that today is the last day of summer vacation. And it was always weird for me in the sense that, how did summer just fly by so quickly when I was younger? It was bizarre. It was weird. I mean, it always seemed like we had just gotten out of school. And then, boom, we're already back in the, we're already back and it's already after Labor Day. And, I mean, for goodness sakes, a bunch of the leaves are still green. That should still give you a representation of just how much summer there's still left. And I know that the autumnal equinox doesn't happen for another 2.5 weeks. So there's that. And plus, it's going to be warm for a while. And there's still plenty of fun stuff to do, even while you're in school. It always just hits you like a ton of bricks, It just does. So if you're a student or a teacher watching this, whether you've already had your first day of school or not, it can always be a very emotional time. It can be. But as I've always said in these videos, a day like today can only be bad if you let it. And I'm not going to do that to you. So, on that particular note, happy Tuesday, everybody. Yep, it is Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, so I guess technically you could consider this a Monday, seeing as how you still have to go back to the old grind, and it can be a real drag. That extra day off is over. But again, stuff like that can only be bad if you let it. And I'm not going to do that to you. Well, I personally won't do it to you because I can't really speak for every single one watching. Plus, you see me, I cannot see you. So, there's that. What else is there? Well, not really much to discuss or talk about, really. I mean, we're going to have, I'm going to get myself some breakfast a little later and simply move on with my day. But for those of you who are going back to school tomorrow, especially if you're a student, I know today can be really bittersweet. It can be. Because, again, summer vacation is practically over for you. It is. But you can always make your last day of summer the best one. It's possible to do. Just watch the show Phineas and Ferb, which, honestly, I'm surprised I haven't really talked about that show yet, have I? I mean, which is really odd because I really liked Phineas and Ferb. It was actually one of the best shows to come out of the late 2000s that was animated. You have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, after around 2004, animated shows in terms of quality and just overall how good they were really fell to the wayside. And don't get me wrong, you had a few good ones. You had Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, not that terrible Teen Titans Go that surprisingly had a very good movie in the theater, but I didn't really watch it because, again, I have principles and good taste. Let's see. Let's see. There was the original Teen Titans. There was Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. That was a good show. Um, for a brief time, there was Symbionic Titan, created by Gendy Tartakovsky, who created both Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack. That was on for a little while. And you know what? One of the greatest shows of that decade, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Imagine what that series would be like now if that movie never came out. I wonder. Anyway, we're always gonna wonder what happens in the future. Oh, actually, I am getting sidetracked to talk about Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb was actually a really, really, really good show. But you know what? There's actually a guy I watch online who could explain just how good Phineas and Ferb was much better than I can. I'm going to put a link into the descriptions up top and down below, but I would suggest you give it a watch. Obviously, after you, of course, watch this video. Or you could simply not watch this video and click on the link. Or do both, or do neither. Hey, you have the right to decide what you want to do. I'm not going to force you to do anything at all. So, you know what? That does remind me. It goes back to what I just said. The last day of summer can only be bad if you let it. But it's always possible to make it the best day. You can. In fact, when I was younger, and I said this yesterday, let's see. I believe I was about to enter 3rd grade, if I remember correctly. My brother walked into my room, and he said, "Nick, it's the last day of summer for both of us. What do you think we should do today?" He was entering 5th grade, and I was entering 3rd grade. So, yeah, he was like 2 years ahead of me in terms of, grades, obviously. So he asked, "Nick, what would you like to do on the last day of summer vacation?" Now, obviously, a bunch of options were very limited at the time. I mean, off the bat, we couldn't go back up to the lake, especially since there wouldn't be any point to it. I mean, we only just got back the day before, and honestly, again, when my brother and I were younger, after Labor Day, we never really went back. I mean, yeah, we could have, but as we got older, my brother and I, we had school, we had sports to play. He did soccer, I did football. It just got so incredibly, busy that we just didn't really have the time to go. Of course, now we are both adults, and we are rational thinking adults at that, so we can do whatever we want. So, yeah, I know being a kid rocks, but trust me, being an adult can be just as fun if you make it so. Although, speaking of being a kid, there was actually one thing that we did on this particular last day of summer before I entered 3rd grade. And that was we went to a place called Discovery Zone, or DZ, for anyone in the area who knows. Think of Chuck E. Cheese's, only better, funner, bigger ball pits, more stuff to do on like those bouncy house, jungle gym type areas, slides, game room, like you name it. Discovery Zone was awesome. It was. And you guys are probably asking, well, Nate, if it was so awesome, whatever happened to it? Well, I believe it was, I think it was definitely before I entered middle school, for sure. Wait, was it before your middle school? I want to say it was between 5th and 7th grade, where I believe the company that owned Discovery Zone was completely bought out and shut down. And the vast majority of like the parts of like the jungle gyms and slides and stuff like that was like sold to people all over the world and stuff. As for the actual location itself, I do believe, if I recall, it actually became the Michaels. That is in Consumer Square. Gives you an idea of where it was. So, there is that. And that day, my brother and I just had a blast, just having fun, doing whatever we wanted to do. Must have gone up and down that slide, each of the slides like 100 times, and as many as we could or whatever. It was awesome. So, we knew that this was the last day of school. And don't get me wrong, Discovery Zone was a place where you could go at any time. In fact, there was one time during 3rd grade, I went like almost every day of the week. But in the end, you know, it's just the little things in life that matter. You know, because even though my brother and I were separated, and my mom could only watch from, you know, the side, because, you know, that's what parents did at the time. They just let their kids play on, you know, any playground-esque equipment. I was still with family. And that was really an always important thing. Because it is. I guess if I have advice for any student who is dreading going to school tomorrow and is completely bummed by the fact that today is the final day of summer vacation, I would say you are free to do whatever you want. You are. And I certainly have no way of making you do one thing or the other. However, if I were to make a choice, I would say be with the people you care about most. Do that. You know, it could be your parents, or your siblings, or your friends, or if you still have them, imaginary friends, you know. Do whatever you feel like. You certainly won't be in the wrong for it, especially if your intentions are noble and pure. In the same way that my intention for always being able to make these videos has been noble and pure. Watch day 185 if you really want to get a grasp on what I'm talking about. So, on that note, please like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And as usual, I am always very humbled I make this video and all other videos prior for all of you to watch and enjoy. I'm hopeful that we all have a wonderful Tuesday and last day of school for some of you people watching. And always remember, if any of you ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I am always going to have your back. So take care, everybody, and happy last day of summer for those going to school tomorrow.